thing I'm going to talk about is dance marathons. Dance marathons were a popular form of entertainment during the 1920s and into the 1930s. During dance marathons, couples would dance until one couple outlasted all the other couples. They could go on for days, weeks. The longest lasted over 157 days. You may be asking, why would someone want to compete in a dance marathon? Well, the answer is simple. Money. Just kidding. Dancers did compete for money, but that wasn't the only reason that people competed. Many contestants were in it for the publicity. Others were placed to stage fight or provide other pre-planned entertainment. Rules differed slightly from dance marathon to dance marathon, but the rules were normally fairly simple. Keep dancing. Most allowed for brief breaks so the dancers could rest because most didn't allow for dancers to fall asleep on the floor, though some marathons allowed for one dancer to fall asleep as long as the other dancer kept them standing and in motion. Now for something I bet none of you were expecting me to say. The dangers. That's right, dance marathons were very dangerous. Many of the contestants suffered from lasting injuries, and some even died. They literally danced themselves to death. It was because of this that many states eventually banned dance marathons. Lights, camera, action. That's right, movies. Movies were a new form of entertainment during the 1920s, and they had rapid success. And the entire world was captured by the movie magic. Everyone went to the movies. The old, the young, the rich, the poor. Some went as often as every week. Movies were where people could escape their day-to-day troubles. They made the country a happier place after World War I. They also became a major social force. It was kind of like monkey see, monkey do. If you saw it in the movies, someone was bound to try it in real life. What was popular in the movies was popular on the streets. Silent movies dominated most of the 1920s until August 10th, 1926, when Don John, starring John Barrymore, was the first commercial talking picture shown to an audience. After that, silence became a thing of the past. Today, I'm going to talk about jazz music. Jazz music first originated in New Orleans and was originally known as voodoo rhythms. New Orleans was the only place in the New World that slaves were allowed to own drums. And voodoo ceremonies were not only accepted in New Orleans, but popular by a vast majority of people. At voodoo ceremonies, European horns and African drums clashed. And what happened? Boom! An explosion of music. While the rest of the country was slowly stomping to army marches, New Orleans was dancing away. There's no doubt where jazz music originated, but there is some doubt of when exactly jazz music was born. Some people say it was as early as 1895, while others say it wasn't until 1917. But no matter when it was born, during the 1920s, jazz music boomed. It went from New Orleans to all across the country. But it wasn't accepted by all, especially the older generation. Jazz music was used as a form of rebellion by the younger generation. Jazz music represented a change in culture. It represented a new generation. Hello and welcome to the Jazz radio station. Yep, it's time. The radio. The radio was another new form of entertainment during the 1920s, and it had a lot of impact on the country. It was able to bring music all across the country, especially to small towns who hadn't had much access to music before because bands didn't visit them. They now had access to all types of music. Jazz, the blues, and every other new genre became even more popular than they would have. But it not only brought music, it brought news all across the country. Before the radio, you just knew what was happening in your town, and that's if you could read. The only source of news was the newspaper. But after the radio, anyone had access to news. Whether you could read or not, you could know what was happening all across the country. I figured out my thesis statement. Okay, wait for it. I can't wait any longer. In the 1920s, American society was heavily influenced by movies and other performing arts. My three supporting facts are: jazz music was used as a form of rebellion by the younger generations. Movies became very popular because they allowed people to escape day-to-day troubles and became an important part of social force. Radios brought information all across the country, making it a more connected and united place. Also, while I have you here, the flashcards I've been using throughout this entire project have all been entirely blank. They just gave me something to look at. Staring at the camera was too awkward. I'm sorry, guys.